What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. My God. So, with this boxing shit, with these predictions shit, my predictions have been more accurate than they have been off. But I'm human. Sometimes I'm wrong. But let me be wrong and y'all jump all over it. Let me be 100% right and accurate, and some of you guys cannot bear it. You get so mad, and it's because you were the same ones on my fucking videos and throughout the YTBC saying that people didn't know shit about boxing. Kell Brook was gonna get knocked out. Kell Brook's overrated. He hasn't fought nobody, but he hasn't fought anyone. I see why you guys are so mad now. Anyway, I'm back. Ego's What's Next, Shawn Porter. Let's talk about it. Shawn Porter, he started off pretty strong, and as the fight wore on, when he seen he was not able to bully Kell Brook, the bigger guy in there, he seemed like he was out of answers. There was no plan B, or there was no definitive plan B. It's just like, let me do more of the same. And that's not good. That's not good for a fighter. I like Shawn Porter. He seems like a humble kid. I just think he has things he needs to work out in his camp. One, I think his father being his trainer, not the best look. There's nothing against Kenny Porter. It's just a lot of times these fathers bring their sons up in the game, take them to all the national tournaments. They're by their side. They love their sons. And they take them as far as they possibly can. But at a pro level, at a world-class level, sometimes you need more than that. And I feel the same thing with, I think, Canelo and Chepo. I think there's other people that could show Canelo things that Chepo and the Reynosos aren't really showing Canelo. I think Robert Guerrero and Ruben Guerrero is another partnership where Robert Guerrero needs another trainer. And I also feel the same way with Shawn Porter. So it's nothing against Shawn Porter or Kenny Porter. There's plenty of people like that. I just think the ship has run its course. And Kenny Porter, Shawn Porter, and I'm not saying he can't be in his son's corner. Just more or less like Nonito Donaire, how he was with his dad, and then he also had brought Robert Garcia along. Even something like that. So I'm not saying you need to fucking kick your pops out like Shane Mosley or nothing. But he's just I'm not liking what I'm seeing yesterday with the lack of adjustment. And I think that's a huge thing. When Shawn Porter found out he couldn't outmuscle and like just rough up, he didn't really have an answer. And that's a problem. Some people complain, oh, it was holding, Ego. It was like, you guys clearly have never boxed. Like, when someone's coming in, first of all, Shawn Porter's short. Kell Brook's a taller fighter. Shawn Porter is short. He's coming in with his head down. Like, first of all, the way Shawn Porter comes in, wild and aggressive and reckless, that's how you get your nose broke. That's how you get a cut. Anything. And fighters like that know that. They know they're wild, they're rough, and they're coming in. Like, if you notice, anytime Kell Brook would do something good, like let's say a cool 1-2 punch combo, bow bow, like a 1-2 punch combo, bow bow, then all of a sudden Shawn Porter would like just charge him and then fall into him. Like, what the fuck is Kell Brook supposed to do? Like, honestly, if you've ever boxed, you'll realize this. There's not much you can do when someone's that wild and they're coming in crazy and they're like rabbit punching you, coming in with their head down. They're already shorter than you and very compact. I mean, you have to hold. I mean, it's either that or physically push them, and you can't do that because that's clearly going to look more apparent. So yeah, you have to resort to clinching at times. If you look at past Kell Brook fights, this has never been an issue. And some of you guys like either don't follow the sport or you live in the moment and you're mad that Porter lost or whatever the fuck it is. So you don't realize that. Kell Brook, I watched tons of his fights. I never recall an excessive, egregious amount of holding. There's other guys like, I would say, Andre Ward, Klitschko. They hold consistently in their fights. And they're good fighters. They're great fighters. But they hold a lot more. This has not really ever been a problem that I've seen, that I've noticed, or a strategy that I noticed Kell Brook has employed. But again, you got a guy that low to the ground, falling in after everything, smothering his own work, if you do good work and he's trying to smother your work, like, I mean, you have to clinch, you have to hold. It comes with the territory. You have to neutralize and nullify that attack. As far as Shawn Porter, I think he can still beat guys at welterweight. He can still make some exciting fights, but I think he needs to revamp his corner, get somebody in there that's going to show him. Because I really seen no level of finesse, no technique. He was just very wild, winging shots, very wide with his shots. And when that didn't work, like, see, this is the thing. At the moment, I think Shawn Porter could still beat people based on that style if you don't have respectable power at least, or just really good boxing ability and the chin. So he'll break you down because that's a lot for someone to endure for 5 fucking rounds. You know what I mean? Dealing with that for 5 rounds. But if you can, then I see you beating Shawn Porter. Like if you're a world class fighter, Keith Thurman versus Shawn Porter would be a good fight. Marquez versus Shawn Porter would be a good fight. I mean, you could still match Shawn Porter with top guys, and it'll be interesting. But at the moment, I think there were a lot of vulnerabilities that were exposed via Kell Brook on Shawn Porter's behalf. So he needs to work on that in training camp. And yesterday, I don't see how some people are challenging this, making it like, oh, I thought it was a draw or Shawn Porter won. How? What did he do? Like, you don't get credit. You don't get rewarded for punches that don't land or that are blocked and you know what I mean? Like, why would that count? So I could just throw a million punches, but none of them land. 3 of them land, and I won the fight because I was busier and I had the stamina to do that. Like, no. And then Shawn Porter, you could look at his face, like physically. You could look at his like face mentally and almost read what he was thinking. He knew he was behind. He knew he was losing. That's why he was coming out in certain rounds. He didn't look so good. And then he came out with renewed vigor, trying to win and do something. But Kell Brook was just ultimately too smart. He gave him movement. He clinched when he needed to. And he just landed the better shots. He did much, much cleaner work. And I think, again, that's all things Shawn Porter needs to assess and address in his next training camp if he wants to get back into a title picture. Because based on that, if I was Kell Brook, I don't know that I would want a rematch. You know what I mean? You got other options. You could potentially fight Marquez. Mir Khan versus Kell Brook is a fight with previous bad blood, and it's a huge fight for the UK. It could even trump Carl Froch's George Groves possibly, or do similar numbers. So, you know what I mean? What's the point of fighting Shawn Porter? You already took his title, and he made it a kind of a dog fight, a ugly, scrappy fight. So, that's my personal opinion, but some of y'all can't stand to be wrong, and I'm just laughing all the way to the bank. Shout out to my bro, Carcino. He also got his prediction right, and we told you. That's all I can say. We told you. So let me know what you guys think. What's next for Shawn Porter? I think he just needs to work on some finesse and control. And it's hard because fighters have been fighting a certain way for 10, 15 years or whatever, 20 years. And all of a sudden to try to reinvent yourself, it becomes hard. Not everyone can do what Marcos Maidana did and be on the border of retirement and then kind of learn new things late in life. So it'll be interesting to see what Shawn Porter has up his sleeve, but he definitely has to calm it down. Like, he was just looking mad sloppy and real like wild and like crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he drank 18 Red Bulls and just came out. But you also have to be effective. You can't just be wild and reckless. And just because I'm throwing and throwing these windmill crazy shots doesn't mean shit. Especially when you're rabbit punching and you don't care where you land. It just wasn't a good look. It wasn't a solid performance. And Shawn Porter as the champion, I don't see how he would be happy with that performance. You know what I mean? His face was getting marked up and tagged, whereas Kell Brook had a cleaner face. It's not all about that, but he looked crazy. He looked like wild, sloppy, and very inaccurate. Like, that's not a good thing. And as far as the holding, last thing I will say is this: as far as the holding, whatever you're presented with, whatever challenges, whether it's a cut, whether it's holding, whether it's someone who's quote unquote running. Your obligation as a fighter is to figure out a way. Shawn Porter's supposed to be this powerhouse and this destructive force that blasted Paulie Malignaggi worse than Cotto, worse than Hatton, Amir Khan, or whatever. And he's supposed to be this this brute force type fighter. Then it should have been easy, right? Kell Brook hadn't fought nobody, so it should have been easy. So a lot of you guys were leaving comments that aren't even consistent because you were saying Kell Brook's nobody, he's gonna get knocked out in 6 rounds. He ain't fought nobody, and he was he's the weaker fighter. Shawn Porter was stronger, and Shawn Porter was gonna knock him out. Yet now you're complaining and bitching like little girls that Kell Brook held too much. He held all night. Fuck that. It's Shawn Porter's obligation and responsibility as a pro fighter that wants to keep his belt to figure out a way. Figure it out. You got to figure out a way, a method, a solution to your problem. So if holding is the problem, there's ways to stop someone from holding. You know what I mean? Whether you have the technique or the skill to do it, that is something else. But there are ways to prevent that. So that's what Shawn Porter should have did. And one of the funniest things that I find very hilarious is some of you guys had actually picked Shawn Porter to dethrone Floyd Mayweather. You said he does it. Shawn Porter's the man that'll beat Floyd Mayweather. Now, I would have watched the fight. Shawn Porter's a champion. He has an aggressive style. He's young. He's strong. And it would have been an interesting fight just to see Floyd against someone we haven't seen him fight before. But I think yesterday's performance shows the lack of actual technique. And in my opinion, Floyd would have just done the Matador thing and frustrated Shawn Porter, just like Kell Brook did. But Floyd Mayweather is perhaps the faster in terms of hand speed and, you know what I mean, with his counter shots and accuracy. So I just had to bring that up. I thought it was funny that a lot of people said the Porter was going to run through Floyd Mayweather and we get to see his skills on display, and he didn't even get the job done convincingly or beat Kell Brook, in my opinion, and obviously in the judge's opinion. But this is the man that was going to beat Floyd Mayweather. That's what I think Shawn Porter's what's next. He can still make good fights. Needs to work on things in camp and X-nay his pops and or get someone else to help his pops. Like even a Barry Hunter, I think would be a good fit because Barry Hunter is going to show you the basics as well. So I think Barry Hunter or somebody like that would be a good fit for Shawn Porter. Make sure you like the video. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.